The recent comments made by Prime Minister Justin Trudeau about the ketchup industry have stirred significant reactions, particularly from Kraft Heinz, the company behind the iconic Heinz ketchup brand. Trudeau's remarks came during a press conference following a meeting with provincial premiers, where he discussed the potential ramifications of an escalating trade dispute between Canada and the United States. His emphasis on encouraging Canadian consumers to support homegrown products to avoid the impending costs associated with U.S. imports has reignited discussions about the impact of trade policies on consumer choices and national identity. Context of the discussion. As tensions rise over the possibility of a trade war, Trudeau's remarks highlight a strategic move to galvanize support for Canadian products in the face of potential tariffs. The Prime Minister's call to action for Canadians to seek out domestically produced goods is rooted in a desire to protect the Canadian economy from external shocks. The backdrop of this conversation is a complex web of trade agreements, tariffs, and national pride, all of which play a critical role in shaping consumer behavior and economic policy. During the press conference, Trudeau specifically referenced the historical context of Heinz ketchup's exit from Canada. This exit occurred in 2014 when Kraft Heinz announced the closure of its Leamington, Ontario, plant, which was a significant blow to the local community and the Canadian food industry. The facility had been a cornerstone of ketchup production in Canada for decades, and its closure raised concerns about the reliance on foreign products and the sustainability of local agriculture. The importance of supporting local products. Trudeau's comments serve as a reminder of the broader implications of consumer choices in relation to national economic health. By encouraging consumers to opt for Canadian-made products, the Prime Minister aims to foster a sense of national identity and pride in local industries. This sentiment resonates with many Canadians who are increasingly aware of the importance of supporting their local economies, particularly in times of uncertainty. The reference to French's ketchup, which has positioned itself as a competitor to Heinz by sourcing Canadian tomatoes, illustrates the potential for domestic products to fill the void left by foreign imports. French's has successfully marketed its brand by emphasizing its commitment to local sourcing, which has resonated with Canadian consumers who are keen to support homegrown products. This shift in consumer behavior not only benefits Canadian farmers, but also contributes to a more resilient domestic economy. Historical context of trade relations. The ongoing discussions about tariffs and trade policies must be understood in a historical context. The relationship between Canada and the United States has been characterized by both cooperation and conflict over the years. Trade agreements such as the Canada-US Free Trade Agreement, FTA, and its successor, the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA, have shaped the landscape of cross-border commerce, promoting economic interdependence. However, recent developments, including the rise of protectionist sentiments in the United States, have introduced new challenges for Canadian businesses. The threat of tariffs on Canadian goods has raised concerns about the potential for a trade war, which could have dire consequences for both economies. The situation is further complicated by the interconnected nature of supply chains, which means that disruptions in trade can have cascading effects across various industries. The economic impact of tariffs. The potential imposition of retaliatory tariffs is a significant concern for Canadian consumers and businesses alike. Tariffs are essentially taxes on imported goods, and when applied, they can lead to increased prices for consumers. Trudeau's comments underscore the reality that if the U.S. government decides to impose tariffs on Canadian products, it will ultimately be American consumers who feel the financial strain. For instance, if a 25% tariff is placed on ketchup imported from Canada, companies like Kraft Heinz may choose to pass those costs on to consumers. This would result in higher prices for ketchup and related products, impacting everyday grocery bills. The broader implications of this scenario extend beyond ketchup. They encompass a wide range of consumer goods, from electronics to agricultural products, all of which could see price increases as a result of tariffs. Consumer behavior and national identity. Trudeau's focus on Canadian-made products speaks to a growing trend among consumers who are increasingly conscious of where their products come from. The rise of ethical consumerism has led many individuals to prioritize local products over imported goods, viewing their purchasing decisions as a way to support their communities and contribute to the national economy. This shift in consumer behavior can be attributed to several factors, including increased awareness of sustainability issues, a desire to support local farmers and businesses, and a growing sense of nationalism. Many Canadians feel a strong connection to their local industries and are motivated to make choices that reflect their values and support their communities. ### branding and marketing strategies. In light of this shift in consumer preferences, companies must adapt their branding and marketing strategies to resonate with a more discerning audience. For Kraft Heinz, the challenge lies in navigating the competitive landscape while emphasizing their commitment to local sourcing and production. The company has historically been associated with its Heinz brand, which has been a staple in Canadian households for generations. However, the exit from Leamington and the subsequent rise of competitors like French's have necessitated a re-evaluation of their market positioning. To regain consumer trust and loyalty, Kraft Heinz may need to enhance its marketing efforts to highlight the use of Canadian ingredients and the company's commitment to supporting local agriculture. By effectively communicating these values, Kraft Heinz can position itself as a brand that aligns with the preferences of Canadian consumers who prioritize local products. ### the role of government in trade policy. The government plays a crucial role in shaping trade policy and addressing the potential impacts of tariffs on consumers and businesses. Trudeau's comments reflect an awareness of the need for proactive measures to protect the Canadian economy in the face of external pressures. This includes exploring avenues for retaliatory tariffs and advocating for fair trade practices that prioritize Canadian interests. Moreover, the government can support local industries through initiatives aimed at promoting Canadian products and fostering innovation within the agricultural sector. By investing in research and development, as well as providing support for local farmers, the government can help create a more sustainable and resilient food system. ### lessons from past trade conflicts. The current situation also serves as a reminder of lessons learned from past trade conflicts. The trade disputes of the 1980s and 1990s, particularly those involving softwood lumber and agriculture, illustrate how trade tensions can escalate and lead to long-lasting impacts on industries and communities. These conflicts often resulted in retaliatory measures that affected jobs and economic stability on both sides of the border. In navigating the current landscape, it is essential for policymakers to engage in constructive dialogue and seek solutions that prioritize cooperation over conflict. The interconnectedness of the North American economy means that both Canada and the U.S. have much to gain from maintaining open lines of communication and fostering mutually beneficial trade relationships. ### future outlook for Canadian products. As discussions surrounding trade policies and tariffs continue, the outlook for Canadian products remains uncertain. However, there are opportunities for growth and innovation within the Canadian food industry. With an increasing demand for sustainable and locally sourced products, Canadian businesses can capitalize on this trend by developing strategies that resonate with consumers. In the ketchup sector, for example, there is potential for the emergence of new brands that prioritize local sourcing and sustainability. Companies that invest in environmentally friendly practices and promote their commitment to supporting local farmers are likely to gain traction among consumers who are increasingly concerned about the environmental and social impacts of their purchasing decisions. ###conclusion. In conclusion, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's remarks about the ketchup industry and the potential for retaliatory tariffs on Canadian products highlight the intricate dynamics of trade relations, consumer behavior, and national identity. The historical context of trade conflicts, coupled with the rise of ethical consumerism, underscores the importance of supporting local products in the face of external challenges. As the landscape of international trade continues to evolve, it is imperative for both consumers and businesses to remain vigilant and proactive in navigating these complexities. The call to prioritize Canadian-made products is not only a reflection of national pride, but also a crucial step towards sustaining local economies and fostering resilience in the face of uncertainty. Ultimately, the future of Canadian products will depend on the ability of businesses to adapt to changing consumer preferences and the commitment of policymakers to create an environment that supports fair trade practices and promotes local industries. By embracing these challenges and opportunities, Canada can position itself for continued growth and success in the global marketplace.